What if I told you that all you see on Sister Wives is only the tip of the iceberg? Behind the cameras, behind the scripted smiles and family portraits, there is a world of tension, secret battles, and moments of intense emotional turmoil. Tonight, we are going to reveal a side of Kody Brown that most fans never get to witness, a side that's complex, sometimes surprising, and always human. This is the tale of the behind-the-scenes truths, of the family moments that never aired, and of the individual struggles which have defined one of reality TV's most celebrated patriarchs. Kody Brown has been the public face of the Brown family for decades. He's charismatic, organized, and devoted to his vision of plural marriage. Millions of viewers have followed his life, from the early days with Meri, through the addition of Janelle and Christine, to the later inclusion of Robyn. On screen, he is often seen as calm, measured, and in control, a man who keeps a large and complex family together with surprising skill. But the reality behind the scenes is different. People who have worked with Kody off-camera have said that he is finicky, at times controlling, and at times rigid. The choices that were presented as effortless and easy on television took lots of planning, negotiating, and at times secretive tension. To Kody, juggling the expectations and emotions of multiple wives and almost 20 children was and remains a gigantic undertaking. Even the wives themselves have suggested the challenges of this way of life. Meri, Kody's first wife, has sometimes been on camera reserved or introspective, and fans have wondered what she is thinking in private. Christine has spoken freely about her frustrations in feeling heard within the family, and Janelle has occasionally shown annoyance at the difficulty of balancing individual needs against family ones. Even Robyn, who married into the family later on, has had to go through the complication of navigating family relationships and expectations. And here's where things get truly interesting. Some of the most telling moments of Kody's character occurred when the cameras were off. Late-night chats, clandestine arguments, and subtle yet powerful actions between family members told a very different story than what we observe on television. What you see on television is just a fraction of it, the tidy, edited-upon version that the producers of the show wish for you to see. The reality off-camera is richer, sometimes strained, and always emotionally multifaceted. Taking care of a family this large isn't simply a matter of schedules and workloads, it's managing feelings, egos, and expectations. Kody has conceded that there were times when peace seemed unattainable. Decisions regarding where the family would reside, who would perform specific tasks, and even how holidays would be spent could be caused by seemingly inconsequential disagreements that intensified behind closed doors. Oftentimes, a minor miscommunication regarding finances or house rules could create tension that lasted for days. The introduction of Robyn into the family is perhaps the strongest illustration of how underlying tensions influence the dynamics in secret. Although Kody discussed this on the show as a natural, balanced addition, the reality was more complicated. Some of the older wives felt threatened in their places, and quiet hints of resentment or awkwardness arose in conversations behind closed doors. These scenes didn't find their way onto the shows, but they show a more human, and sometimes imperfect, side of Kody Brown, a guy trying to keep multiple relationships going while retaining control, equity, and love. And here's one question that keeps viewers buzzing. How much of Kody's own reserved, self-assured personality is genuine, and how much is orchestrated for the cameras? When the lights went out and the crew departed the room, the genuine feelings surfaced, sometimes annoyance, sometimes concern, and sometimes genuine concern for the welfare of his family. These behind-the-scenes moments are where we start to get a sense of the real nuances of Kody Brown. Even the little things, such as how Kody interacted with his wives, speak louder. A decision about the family's finances that seemed a simple one may have taken several conversations, tactful negotiating, and the tactful handling of emotions. The way he refereed arguments, provided advice, or occasionally enforced quietly exerted rules showed the fine line required to keep this big interlinked family intact. It's also important to mention that the narrative of the show, although engaging, wasn't always a picture-perfect portrayal of reality. Producers and editors will of course choose moments that build tension or drama, but even in the carefully constructed content, detail-oriented viewers can occasionally see brief flashes of actual struggle. A hesitation in discussion, a fleeting expression, or an unobtrusive sigh can tell us worlds about the emotions brewing out of frame. Kody's family, after all, is living in a pressure cooker where individual wants and group needs constantly need to be weighed. In private interviews and off-camera asides, Kody has sometimes admitted the emotional burden of working these dynamics. He acknowledges that the responsibility is crushing, that the expectations that are placed on him as husband and father are huge, and that one misstep could cascade through the whole family. These moments of candid reflection allow fans to see beyond the public persona and understand Kody as a man trying, in a very human way, to do his best in a uniquely challenging situation. As we peer into the sequestered realities of Kody Brown's life, it is apparent that what we witness on TV is merely the tip of the iceberg. Behind the manufactured grins and strategically shot scenes lies genuine emotion, intimate conflict, and moments of vulnerability. And it is those unobserved moments, the after-dark conversations, the hushed arguments, the discreet indicators of tension, that most accurately reflect the multifaceted, layered personality of Kody Brown. Picture yourself living in a home with several wives and almost 24 children, with each decision you make influencing dozens of lives. Picture that one individual is tasked with maintaining harmony, organization, and love within the household. That individual is Kody Brown. What you observe on Sister Wives, the smiles, holidays, outings, is only part of what it really takes to keep this unconventional family life together. Tonight, we enter into the intimate core of the Brown family to reveal the actual dynamics, the personal struggles, and the secret challenges Kody battles on a daily basis. Kody Brown's life as patriarch of the Brown family is frequently presented as efficient, peaceful, and even happy. On TV, he seems to juggle the demands of Meri, Janelle, Christine, Robyn, and all their children without breaking a sweat. But the actual work of managing such a big and intertwined family is much more complicated and much more emotional than most people could even begin to comprehend. Each choice Kody makes has consequences. From household budgeting to planning family vacations, he must weigh the emotional want and need of 4 wives and almost 24 kids. Even minor choices, such as which child does which activity, or how to allocate attention equally among wives, take thought, communication, and sometimes subtle negotiating. Robyn's entry into the family brought additional complexity. While Kody spun this on television as a natural and beneficial addition, in real life it took tact to avoid alienating the other wives. Managing the relationships between wives with years of experience with him and a newer wife took emotional intelligence, patience, and sometimes quiet assertiveness. And here's the surprising thing. Maintaining these relationships wasn't merely a matter of logistics, it was an emotional issue. Each conversation, each shared experience, had the potential for conflict. Behind closed doors, talks of property, attention, and family roles could lead to fights that the cameras never saw. Reading between the lines lets us appreciate Kody not only as a reality TV celebrity, but as a real person attempting to keep the peace in a very complicated home. It is communication that plays a key role in these dynamics. Kody must walk a delicate tightrope of openness and tact. Too much information can create tension, but too little can breed misunderstandings. The wives themselves have referred to these exchanges as delicate dances, where a single word and gesture can set the mood and cohesiveness of the household. Even holidays and family traditions need planning. Coordinating several family celebrations, determining who hosts what, and that everyone is included are ongoing challenges. Behind the scenes, Kody frequently must make difficult decisions, sometimes putting the needs of one family member above the other to keep overall harmony intact. These decisions are not ones seen on television, but are important to understanding the true family dynamics. And here's a little secret that might astonish you. Even though he tries his very best, Kody sometimes falters. Frustrated outbursts, silent arguments, or even private reservations have their moments more than fans acknowledge. These backstage conflicts are discreet but compelling. They show the humanness of Kody, the individual who bears the weight of an entire family's emotional and pragmatic welfare. Parenting a family this large is an added challenge. There are unique personalities, desires, and expectations of each child. Kody has to provide each child with attention and consistency in the household. From school to athletics to life advice, every choice affects dozens of individuals, and errors or omissions can cascade through the family. The older wives often provide critical perspectives, acting as co-managers of the household in many ways. Janelle, Christine, and Meri each contribute to maintaining order, setting boundaries, and guiding the children. Yet, even with their support, Kody's role as the central authority requires him to make final decisions, which sometimes creates tension. Off camera, these moments can involve long discussions, emotional debates, or quiet reflection, none of which are fully visible on television. Financial obligations also influence the family dynamics. Managing multiple homes, vacation planning, and provision of daily needs for such a vast family is not an easy task. Kody must think about long-term planning, emergencies, and fair distribution of resources among the wives and children. Behind the scenes, most of these financial decisions involve compromise, negotiation, and sometimes discreet assertiveness in order to avoid misunderstandings. And here's a reflection: all of these difficulties, managing relationships, being a parent, planning finances, happen in the public eye of millions of viewers. Every hug, every kiss, every argument is being picked apart. This public scrutiny is pressure, putting Kody's job into even more complicated context than one might initially consider. In spite of all these challenges, Kody has been resilient and committed. To balance the needs of 4 wives and still perform his function as a father to almost 2 decades of children demands emotional resilience, patience, and flexibility. The dynamics of the family are evidence of his capacity to handle one of the most complex family configurations imaginable. Finally, seeing the Brown family dynamics behind the scenes provides a deeper appreciation for what we see on TV. The smiles and laughter that we witness are the product of meticulous planning, emotional intelligence, and constant bargaining in the background. Kody Brown is not just a patriarch on TV, he is a man struggling to find a balance of love, duty, and authority in an extremely difficult family situation. Suppose I told you that some of the most surprising things that happened to the Brown family never occurred on camera. That there are secret stories, secret struggles, and secret surprises that most people never get to witness. Tonight, we're getting behind the scenes to reveal the secrets and surprises in Kody Brown's life. These are the secrets, the silent disagreements, the subtle conflicts, and the hidden epiphanies that are far different from what you've seen on TV. If you ever thought you knew Kody, think again. Kody Brown has been the focal point of Sister Wives for years, leading his extended family through daily life, holidays, and struggles. On camera, he is frequently calm, composed, and fair-minded. Off camera, however, there is another, more nuanced story. The family's intimate moments show a man who is very human, occasionally frustrated, occasionally torn, and frequently working to balance an intricate dance of love, power, and duty. One of the largest surprises in the background is how secretive the family life is. Not all that Kody talks about or decides is revealed to the wives right away, and there are some conversations that occur in the quiet, out of sight of children and cameras. These are usually concerning the preservation of feelings, avoiding misunderstandings, or dealing with sensitive issues that might generate tension if tackled openly. For example, family property, money, or parenting decisions are sometimes discussed in closed-door sessions with only 1 or 2 wives at a time to let Kody walk delicately through complicated emotions. The inclusion of Robyn to the family also created personal tensions that were not entirely portrayed on television. Whereas the on-screen plot indicates oneness and affection, in private there were adjustments, compromises, and muted disputes. Kody had to walk a careful line between the pre-existing relations with Meri, Janelle, and Christine, while merging Robyn with the family setup. These personal bargains often entailed emotional debates, contemplation, and sometimes frustration for both parties. And here's a little-known secret most fans don't know. Some of the family's most dramatic scenes never appear on screen. Last-minute chats at night, quiet arguments, and unseen decisions show a side of Kody far different from the gentle patriarch we watch on TV. Those unseen moments speak a tale of authority and vulnerability, a man doing his best to keep control while loving everyone in his life. Family members have alluded to these private dynamics in interviews and on social media. Christine, for instance, has mentioned times that she was unheard or ignored, despite Kody's efforts to keep overall harmony intact. So too has Meri expressed her own difficulties in dealing with feelings of isolation or tension that happen off camera. Even Janelle has conceded that the family's private conversations can be charged with emotion, exposing the covert power struggles beneath love and affection. It's not only the wives who see these behind-the-scenes dynamics, children also come into play. With almost 24 children, Kody must deal with personalities, moods and relationships on a daily basis. Decisions regarding who does what activity, how to parcel out attention, and how to handle disagreements take patience and planning. Even the most seemingly innocuous interactions take on weight, impacting emotions and relationships in ways viewers may never pick up on while watching. And the truth is, some of the most surprising stories involve unexpected alliances, quiet compromises, and private moments of revelation. There are times when a hushed conversation between Kody and one wife completely changes the course of a family decision, or when a seemingly small gesture shows deep emotional insight. These moments are rarely seen, but they reveal the human side of managing a large, complex family. Financial choices are yet another space where surprises and secrets arise. Though Kody comes across as methodical and assured on camera, there are times when behind the scenes he has to walk around conflicting ideas, competing priorities, and cautious fiscal prudence in order to maintain equity among all the family members. Deciding on things such as joint possessions, family expenses, and future plans usually entails several meetings, sensitive negotiation, and compromise. These choices create subtle tension, and Kody has to intervene without disturbing the fine balance of the home. Even trivial disputes have the potential to escalate into domestic battles. It might be deciding whose house celebrates a holiday, how chores are split, or how much attention every child gets. The stakes, remarkably, are always high. Kody's success in handling these often means emotional intelligence, forbearance, and sometimes quiet strength. He must juggle personal sentiment, household peace, and functional necessity in ways the viewer rarely gets to witness. Amidst the tension, however, there are also joyful and surprising moments in private. Family celebrations in private, acts of personal love, and quiet triumphs remind Kody and the family of the strength and unity that lie beneath even the most complicated dynamic. These quiet moments of connection are what carry the family through adversity and make the tale of Kody Brown more accessible and human. Finally, knowledge of these behind-the-scenes personal narratives provides spectators with a new appreciation for the family's on-screen interaction. The grins, the embraces, and the almost effortless moments of unity are the consequences of constant work, negotiation, and self-reflection. Kody Brown's life off-camera is one of both drama and unspoken success, leadership, love, and perseverance lessons that transcend what is recorded on camera. Have you ever considered what it's like to have the responsibility of an entire family on your shoulders? To juggle the emotions, needs, and expectations of various spouses and almost 20 children, while being in the line of sight of millions of viewers? That is the life of Kody Brown, the head of the Brown family. Behind the cameras, behind the grinning and cheering, are profound emotional battles that most viewers rarely witness. Tonight, we reveal the unseen emotional battles that characterize Kody's life, battles that bring to light both vulnerability and strength in ways you might never have suspected. Kody Brown's sister wives' life is presented as well-ordered and peaceful, but the reality of what goes on behind the scenes is multifaceted. In a plural marriage with 4 wives and almost 20 children, it's not about timing and coordination, about schedules and logistics, it's about feelings, people, and the sensitive art of living together in harmony and respecting each individual. For Kody, each choice has an emotional burden. From determining how to spend time between his wives, resolving conflicts among children, or resolving conflicts regarding domestic responsibilities, there is always room for tension. Behind the scenes, these private emotional conflicts are ongoing. Kody frequently ponders in private how best to service all of the needs of those in his family and maintain his own well-being. The wives themselves have provided glimpses of these challenges. Meri, the first wife, has suggested brief moments of emotional distance and confusion, at times feeling unheeded or overlooked. Christine has described the difficulty of meeting her own needs versus the needs of the family, as well as the demands of public life. Even Janelle and Robyn have had their moments of frustration, wading through the complexity of relationships in a family where choices affect dozens of lives. And here's a thought that many fans might not realize: the emotional strain doesn't just affect Kody, it ripples through the entire household. Children pick up on tension, wives react to perceived favoritism, and small disagreements can quietly grow into larger conflicts. Understanding these emotional undercurrents is key to seeing the real story behind the Brown family. Parenting in a household this large presents unique challenges. Kody must provide attention, direction, and emotional support to each of the children. Whether assisting with homework or counseling them over personal issues, all of it demands consideration and care. But with so many children, he cannot always devote the same amount of attention to all of them, which at times results in disappointment or frustration. These intimate moments of emotional stress seldom make it onto TV, but are at the heart of knowing what Kody goes through on a day-to-day basis. Adding Robyn to the family also added new emotional dimension. While TV portrays a seamless integration, reality entailed covert negotiations, concessions, and moments of emotional adaptation. Kody needed to think about how his current wives would react, how the children would adapt, and how he was going to get through his own emotions, all at the same time. It's in these hidden moments that viewers see a more vulnerable side of Kody, a man deeply aware of the emotional stakes of his decisions. And here's the most telling part: some of Kody's most poignant moments occur off-camera, in hushed moments, alone with his thoughts, or after hours with his wives. These are the moments that reveal a thoughtful, sometimes wrestled with, but always wanting to do the right thing man in an extremely complicated family situation. Emotional struggles also extend to financial and practical responsibilities. Maintaining multiple households, managing expenses, and planning for the future all contribute to the pressure Kody experiences. The need to be fair, transparent, and attentive adds another layer of emotional complexity. Small misunderstandings can quickly escalate, requiring Kody to act with patience, empathy, and careful judgment to preserve harmony. Even small domestic choices bear emotional significance. Who sleeps where, how one spends holidays, or how one divides up family time. These mundane-looking choices can trigger conversations worth negotiating and being understood. Kody's success in mediating these occasions speaks to his dedication to the happiness of his family, but also to the ever-present emotional labor of being patriarch. Behind closed doors, Kody occasionally gets self-doubt issues. It is a heavy load trying to keep up with multiple relationships, negotiating conflicts, and being fair to everyone. There are times he feels uncertain if he is making the best decisions, times when personal frustrations emerge, and times when he silently debates how to better do things. These are not the shots taken for television, but they show a very human side of the man who is at the heart of the Brown family. The wives themselves have provided peeks into these emotional obstacles. They speak of nights of private conversation with Kody, where emotions were expressed, sacrifices were offered, and tough choices were decided. These conversations take place in the late hours of the evening, or in seclusion from the children, emphasizing the deliberateness and emotional expenditure necessary in order to keep harmony in the home. Despite the challenges, there are also moments of triumph and connection. Kody's ability to navigate these emotional struggles allows the family to function, celebrate, and grow together. Private gestures of love, understanding, and compromise reinforce the bonds within the household, even when the challenges seem overwhelming. These hidden victories remind viewers that the family's journey is not only about drama and conflict, it's also about resilience, growth, and connection. What if I told you that Kody Brown's story is more than drama or controversy? Behind the sister wives' cameras, there's a richer narrative of persistence, love, and the intricacies of living with an unconventional family. The teachings are in the quiet moments, the quiet conversations, and in the challenges that everyday Kody has to overcome. Tonight, we're exploring what his journey can teach us. Not just about him, but about family, leadership, and human connection in situations that most people could never imagine. As we approach the conclusion of this tale, keep in mind that Kody Brown's existence is so much more than what appears on screen. Though Sister Wives dwells on holidays, family celebrations, and the rare argument, the life backstage depicts a man walking through a tangled mess of emotions, duties, and connections. Each choice he has weighs heavily upon him, not only upon himself, but also upon his 4 wives and almost 24 children. The difficulties Kody encounters are remarkable. Juggling the demands of several wives, each with her own needs and emotional issues, and raising large numbers of children, takes patience, compassion, and sound judgment. It's a balancing act that must be constantly watched and thoughtfully executed. In a sense, Kody's biography is a study in human resilience, the capacity to confront adversity, adjust to unpleasant surprises, and preserve family harmony under stress. And here's the rub that will shock most fans. Kody's behind-the-scenes struggles and triumphs teach us truths beyond reality TV. They teach us patience, compromise, empathy, and the value of learning others' viewpoints. These are not family lessons, they're life lessons, demonstrating how one individual can support and shape a great many relationships while keeping in mind his own limitations. One of the biggest takeaways from Kody's experience is the value of communication. Within a family as big and interdependent as the Browns, things can blow up easily if not talked through. Kody has frequently had to arbitrate fights, interpret intentions, and make sure each family member is heard and respected. These kinds of moments of communication, which are frequently invisible to viewers, are the linchpin of keeping things peaceful and in understanding within the family. Another vital one is flexibility. Kody must constantly adapt to the shifting needs of his wives, the increasing demands of his children, and the public scrutiny of millions of viewers. Flexibility is not only necessary for practical purposes, but also for emotional health. It enables Kody to deal with unexpected problems, solve concerns as they come up, and make choices that respect the collective needs of the family. And here's something to consider. The true power of Kody Brown is not in dominating every moment, but in the way he can reflect, evolve, and learn with his family. The quiet moments of introspection, the late-night conversations, and the sequestered compromises are what make his leadership real. These unseen moments are what make his journey so endearing and accessible to even those who have never known a family this large. Resilience is another thread that seems to emerge when we peek behind the scenes. Kody's ability to endure criticism, weather controversy, and yet keep on going to lead his family suggests an incredible sense of emotional strength. Life in the Brown household may be complex and sometimes volatile, but Kody's dedication to keeping things together and caring for his family has remained steady. This resilience encourages not only his family, but also the millions of fans who watch his story. The last of the lessons learned from Kody's experience is that of empathy and understanding. To lead a family composed of multiple wives and children demands an almost superhuman degree of awareness and compassion. Kody must take into consideration the emotional state, point of view, and requirements of every person, mediating disputes, and establishing understanding in gentle, reflective ways. These are the emotional abilities that are necessary to the functioning of the family and to everybody's general well-being. Private moments within the Brown family illustrate the depth of these lessons. Quiet gestures, tearful conversations, and intimate celebrations all illustrate that Kody's influence goes beyond authority. He creates the emotional and relational landscape in ways that audiences usually don't witness. These unseen moments offer a glimpse of the real man behind the public figure, a husband and father laboring around the clock to build stability, love, and understanding in an unconventional family. In the end, Kody Brown's tale is not primarily one of plural marriage or reality TV. Kody Brown's tale is not primarily one of plural marriage or reality TV. It's about people, leadership, and the difficulties of sustaining relationships in complicated situations. What he learns to practice: communication, compromise, adaptability, and compassion, is applicable beyond the Brown family. It gives audiences a chance to examine their own relationships and see the value of understanding, compromise, and emotional intelligence in daily life. Thus, as we conclude this chapter, keep in mind this Kody Brown story is greater than what we see on TV. Behind the cameras, there are greater lessons regarding love, strength, and the skill of coping with life's intricacies. His story teaches us that there is crisis in every family, there is doubting every leader, and there is the capacity to change and adjust in every individual. Learning about Kody's life helps us appreciate more the quiet struggles, victories, and humanness that inform the lives of the Brown family, and indeed perhaps our own lives as well.